project has been completed. We know that that's been a painstaking, agonizing for everyone, and we understand how that's an important task. So when I drafted this in July, it made more sense to be either the project, the roadway project being completed, or 2 years of the approval. Well, now we're in September. Our school year typically starts in August, so the change that we would like to make to this condition, and I apologize for the lateness on this, again, give credit to Mr. Seymour for being the attorney he is, catching that. We would like to just keep it the same as far as the roadway project, but then change the 2 years to a set date of August 1st, 2025, so we're assured that we can open for the 2025 school year, assuming we can get through the permitting process and through construction. So, actually, I think I missed a slide. Oh, I know why, because I'm hitting the wrong button. I'm sorry. The criteria for conditional use, there's 8 standards that we have to comply with. And those standards, I'm not going to go through all 8 of them, but the check marks are emphasizing the fact that your staff has gone through our application and have found all 8 of those to be consistent with the comprehensive plan, with the land development code, and with these standards. I'll point out item C, which is compatibility with surrounding uses. And the part that's in italics there is actually from the staff report. That's your staff's response to these conditions, which in the staff report, which is part of the record, and here, all of those are indicating that we are consistent with those standards, and therefore they are recommending approval and always have been. So thanks for that, letting me go backwards with the buttons. So in summary, we are more than ready to move forward here. We're in compliance with comp plan, code, statutes. We have 2 letters of support from the Alliance of Del Rey. We have conditions of approval for traffic conditions, with the exception of the one change that I brought up here this morning. We're fine with all the conditions. We've tried to do everything that we can do as a neighbor, and we will continue to do so as we continue on with the project. But we ask for your consideration here and your approval so we can move forward to provide a new school in this area for the Islamic Center School. So I'm here. The rest of my colleagues are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. Any questions for the applicant at this time? I see, Vice Mayor, you have your light lit.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Miller, for working diligently on this. We have worked quite a bit on this issue of the Islamic school, and next will be a place of worship that borders Lyons Road. How many acres does your client own at this site?
It's just shy of 10 acres, I think 9.87.
I thought it was 15 acres.
This site is the 10 acres of the application.
Does he also own?
He also owns the parcel to the west, which I mentioned in my presentation, between the school and Lyons Road, and that has site plan approval for a place of worship. So my question is, how many acres does your client own in that area? There's approximately 15 there, and then he has 5 acres on the north side of 152nd Place.
So 20 acres.
Yes.
15 that borders on 152nd Place, and 5 that is on the north side of 152nd. That also borders Lyons Road.
The 5 on the north side of 152nd does not border Lyons, no.
Do, if you know, does your client have any plans to develop anything other than the school and the daycare and the place of worship on the site plan that you're showing to us today?
Well, on this particular parcel that's before you today, there's no place of worship proposed. He does have a place of worship approval on the 5 acres to the west, which the intentions would be to build there.
And so my question is, does your client have any plans to develop anything other than what you have already discussed, which is the school, the daycare, and a place of worship on the 20 acres that he owns on Lyons Road?
As of
If
right
you know.
now, I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. The reason Lyons Road is very important is, as you know, and as everybody here knows, this is a road that is extremely difficult to manage because of all the development that has been on Lyons Road since the last number of years. So it's important for us to know on the board what exactly is being developed today. Mr. Seymour, would you like to have a conference? Go right ahead. Mr. Seymour, you are ready. If you would like to discuss anything, feel free to come to the podium. Okay, I don't want to put you to a side.
I'm going to stand next to Bradley Cooper. So, Commissioner, I can appreciate what you're saying, and of course Lyons is important, which is why we had the first delay. What I was just mentioning to Mr. Miller is, if at any time that 5 acres was going to be developed, whatever could have happened subsequent would also have to be considered. So if in 5 years that gets an approval request, whatever happened in that time would be background, would have to be considered for Lyons, and then that parcel would have to meet all of the code requirements, just as this one did and does.
I have no problems with
understood.
that, no issues, Mr. Seymour, thank you. I think Mr. Cooper is doing very well on his own. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Could we have as a condition that there would be no livestock on any of the 20 acres that is owned by your client on this area, sir?
Excuse me, I think our attorney wants to speak.
First of all, the only application before us today is for the 9.85 acres where the daycare and the school are, so we can't condition property outside of that.
Could we condition that, Mr. Miller, on the site plan presently before us today?
I'm not quite sure where that comes from, but what do you consider as livestock? I mean, it's a school. They might have a rabbit come into, is that livestock?
I'll defer to the attorney. In fact, what is the definition of livestock on the 9-point-some acres that were in application for today?
I think staff's going to be able to provide that information. And when we are adding conditions of approval, there is a standard in the code at which it needs to be necessary to further and accomplish the purposes of the code and the plan, to help ensure compatibility, to minimize adverse impacts. I just wanted to kind of give an overview of what the purpose of conditions are.
I've read that, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sure. There's a reason for this. I don't wish to go into it now, but you're all coming before us today. You have already had a condition of compliance. Just go ahead. And now you're changing it with regard to the completion of the school, changing it from before the Lyons Road is finished to possibly doing it while we're still under construction? No? Okay. So let's go back to my original question. Do you want me to repeat it, sir?
I think it was clear of whether we had agreed to a condition to not have livestock on the property. Is there a definition?
Yeah, would you-
Wendy's looking at us.
Yes, would you like me, okay. We have a definition of domesticated livestock, and it says, shall include but not limited to all animals of the equine, excluding horses, bovine, which is cattle, porcine, swine, caprine, goats, ovine, sheep, and camelid, llamas and alpacas, families, as well as poultry, chickens, and ducks.
Thank you very much.
I think to answer and try to put this to bed, I think we're fine with that as long as we know that if there's a school project or something like that that's related, that, I mean, this is a school for kids, so it's,
Thank you for agreeing to that. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Moving on, I just want to confirm that because I'm very sensitive, there are thousands of people that use Lyons Road, and we're adding 400 students. The entrance and exit to the school will be on 152nd Place South, not on Lyons Road. I just want to be
correct.
sure that
It comes from the site. There's two connections on 152nd Place South that then
Excellent.
connects to Lyons.
Just wanted to confirm that, and that that your client will, 152nd Place South is basically a dirt road, and your client will pay to improve that for the movement of students and parents in and out. How long of that will that be paved? Will it be to the end? It's a dead-end street. Will he pave all the way to the end, or will he only pave to the entrance and exit of the school, sir?
The condition requires it to go to the end of the property because there's one more property to the east of us that if in time they want to access that road, they could.
So it'll only be to the school, not for the entire road?
No, that's not what I said. What I said was it would go to the end of the property, which is what our slide shows.
I
And
see.
so the property that's to the east of us,
So it'll go another 5 acres or so?
there's one more parcel
Okay,
there.
okay,
So it
that's
would
good.
improve their access as well.
Okay. And sir, when you discuss compatibility, when did your applicant give notice to the property that is just to the south of them, that is really contiguous to your property line?
The signs that we posted was on May 30th.
Sir, was that to what, and I know that this is consistent with code, and I appreciate that. But did you ever give signage notice to St. Mary's Coptic Church, which is just to the east of your site, which is on the same, it's contiguous to your site plan, sir?
Actually, for clarification, it's not to the east of us, it's to the southwest of us.
Thank you, you're better than I am on that.
But we, actually in deference to you, we were offering to meet with them in August, and you
Mr.
were
Miller,
trying to
signage.
facilitate.
I just said signage, we don't have to go
Sign-
to big
signage-
explanation.
signage
Did you
are the
ever give,
two-
let me repeat the question.
Okay.
Did your client ever give notice by signage to the property that is contiguous to them, which is St. Mary's Coptic Church?
Yes,
What was that signage?
the two signs that are on the property,
And was that
same as
facing,
any other of the property owners surrounding or within the area.
what was the property owner that you gave signage to? What was the name of that property owner, sir?
It's not a specific to the owner. The requirement is to post those signs for public view.
Did you ever give them on Lyons Road, sir? Did you ever give signage on Lyons Road?
Did not, no.
No, okay. Okay, I have no further questions at this time. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else from the board have any questions of the applicant at this time? Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
The signage issue that the Commissioner just brought up for Lyons Road, that is not within your requirement, is that correct?
Correct. The requirement is to put it onto the frontage of the property, the subject property.
So if and when you are developing the subject property, the not subject property, but the property that is on Lyons Road, at that point in time, then you will have signage on Lyons Road.
If there's a public hearing application that pertains to that property, you're correct. Right now, it has approval, which is an administrative approval through site plan for a place of worship.
Okay, thank you very
So if
much.
there's any change that would require this coming back to you, you're absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Commissioner Moreno. I appreciate that. And I learned something new, that a place of worship is not required to give any signage. You can go ahead and build it. And there will be a mosque or a place of worship there fronting Lyons Road. They will not be required to have any signage, which is notice to the folks on Lyons Road that there will be a place of worship there fronting Lyons Road. So whatever signage there is, you met the requirements, which is on that dirt road, but you didn't give any signage to the folks who would be traveling on Lyons Road, or to your neighbor to the west. I got that right, to the west.
Southwest.
Southwest. Thank you. I just wanted to make that clear, because I didn't know that either. But, and approximately how many people do you think will be using the mosque that fronts on Lyons Road, if you know?
Commissioner, I can appreciate that you have a concern, but this is about this school. That mosque either meets the code or doesn't meet the code. That mosque, as approved, would have been considered by your staff. And I get what we're talking about, and it's important, but this is not about the mosque. The mosque will be a tremendous addition. These are great people. I literally got hired 2 days ago, but I do know who they are. So I want to make sure we're focusing the questions on the application. We will be happy to sit down with you personally, and as Bradley said, with the neighbors at the church at any time, talk about the mosque, talk about anything else that is unrelated. We'd be very happy to do that, but I want to be careful that we don't sort of get too far afield from what we're talking about here.
Mr. Seymour, thank you for your addition, and thank you. I'm glad that, Mr. Seymour, I'm speaking to you, sir. Please. I'm sorry. That's okay. Always good to see your face.
Particularly after I covered half of
I
it
have a
up.
Lyons Road issue.
Understood.
Has nothing to do with any particular place of worship. My concern is Lyons Road. And I was at a meeting last night with engineering staff and folks who live on Lyons Road. This is of concern. So if you're not prepared to answer the question with regard to how many people are going to be using Lyons Road, after you've already mentioned to us that one of the conditions of approval is that you're going to pay for a left lane from Lyons Road into a place of worship, and also a right lane and an intersection light, you have made that an issue in this discussion.
Respectfully,
So, yeah,
Commissioner,
Mr. Seymour?
we have not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have not made that an issue. This is through every project that I've done in 25 years in this county. Traffic is evaluated based on existing approvals, background approvals, and the proposal. There were requests for conditions of approval that we've seen on thousands of applications in this county for off-site traffic improvements. With the staff, there was a delay. We met with you. Bradley came up with the additional condition to try to help resolve some of the concerns about Lyons Road and the timing of the widening, and he then agreed to that condition as well. But
So you'll stick to that condition? That it will.
as
Mr.
amended.
Seymour, please, only one of us can speak. Thank you. I know you were just in 2 days ago, but we have been discussing this with his client, who's here, for quite a while. So I just want to be sure that Lyons Road and the folks who drive on Lyons Road, who have a tremendous concern about traffic, that your client will stick with the condition that you have with our staff, way before I even got involved in talking about notice in this case, that school will not open until Lyons Road is completed and/or 2 years from that date. So if we're on the same page on that, then I think we're okay.
So I will be very simple on this. We agree entirely to the conditions as staff has recommended them, with the amendment that Bradley talked about the August 1st date, because that was put in place in July as 2 years. 2 years from today, we couldn't actually do that because that would delay the school by an additional year. So the intent of that condition was we would not open the school for 2 years, basically 2 school years. And we absolutely continue to agree to that provision in the condition as well. And that's why when we spoke to Lisa, August 1 was the date that would be the hard date.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cook.
Of 2025, yes, sir.
I'll hear from staff. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Have we heard a presentation from staff, or can we make a motion?
Does anyone need a staff presentation?
Definitely I do, because of the issue with Lyons Road and the original condition of approval that came to us today, that it would be 2 years from the completion. Thank you. If I could, please, thank you, Mayor.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay, good morning. I'm Vince Stark. I'm with the Zoning Division. Go back a slide. The south side, we all know the location of this site, and its main condition is for the use of an elementary and secondary school. We vetted this project from day one, and we looked at this very closely for all the parking requirements and made sure that it met all of the code 100%. Traffic has been involved in the roadway. We wanted to make sure that was one of our main concerns at the beginning of this project, and that there was enough roadway for the traffic that was going to be created by the school. We recommend approval for the 2 Class A requests and as recommended by the staff and approved by the subdivision variance to allow the reduction of access. Okay.
Yes, and just to add, staff wouldn't have any objections to changing the start date to the completion of Lyons Road or August 1st, 2025, because Scott Cantor says that the completion of Lyons Road should occur within 6 to 8 months, and even if we double that, it should be done well before August 1st, 2025.
It really, I've been coordinating with County Engineer's Office and Construction Coordination's Office, and we're looking at closer to a December of this year completion of Lyons Road south of Atlantic to the L38. So that's why we have no objection in August 1st, 2025, if you so choose to modify.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, may I ask?
Of course, please.
I'm sorry. I was just with engineers last night, our engineers, and we will have part of Lyons Road completed by the holidays. But what I'm interested in is if we have this opening, which was the original condition of use, and which I'm reading here for this issue on the engineering report, that their condition was that it would either be at the end of completion of Lyons Road, that is, and what we're talking about for the record is from Lyons Road, from Clintmore Road to Atlantic Avenue. So I don't have any objections that they would be able to open the school at the completion of Lyons Road or within 2 years of their application. It seems to me that the sooner of that would be the completion of Lyons Road. So I think we should keep the original, probably be to their benefit anyways, keep the original condition of approval, that it would be at the completion of Lyons Road. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good. So I stick by my same issue, which is completion of Lyons Road, which was the original condition for this applicant. Thank you, Scott.
All right. Any other questions for staff? Not seeing any. All right. We have 2 cards.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Can I just clarify one thing? I just want to, the Vice Mayor referenced that as the original condition. That was not an original condition. It was one that we volunteered in response to the first postponement in July. And the condition was drafted to say, upon completion of the Lyons Road project from Atlantic to whatever the canal is, or 2 years of the approval, whichever is earlier. What we want to change here is actually plug in a date so we don't miss that school year. I just want to
We
clarify
understand.
that because seemed like it, not to take credit away, but I came up with that condition at your request. So
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Thanks for, okay, well, let's, we have 2 cards. We have 1 card, okay? We have 1 card. We will hear from that speaker.
I apologize if I'm not going to read this right, but the representative on behalf of St. Mary's, this way you can introduce yourself when you get to the mic and I won't butcher your name.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Fadi Anis, here on behalf of St. Mary's Church, which is the neighbor immediately to the south or southwest of the property. Since I only have 3 minutes or 2 minutes and 45 seconds now, I don't want to rehash the notice issue that the church has been faced with, where the church was scrambling to hire professionals during the last couple of weeks or so, and this was during the Jewish holidays. It is very difficult, and the process has already started, but we're not there yet. I did speak with Mr. Bradley. I called him last week. He got back to me. He was sick, and he called me this week. And he said, what if I explain to you? I said, I am not able to comprehend this. I'm a personal injury attorney. I'm not a land use attorney. I'm not a land planner. I'm not an engineer. And the church needs its own engineer to look at this and to make recommendations. Now, the church has legitimate and reasonable concerns that need to be addressed and worked out. There are things that are beyond my abilities, which the church has a right to have its own professionals advise it on. The church is willing to work with its neighbor, but bear in mind, the church is the next door neighbor to the south, and it's finding out about this when this was already in process for months. It's now finding out about this, and it has to rush and scramble. For instance, my own personal assessment just last night, the church and anyone in the area is obviously concerned about the impact of traffic, the impact of noise. This is a school with playground, tennis courts, basketball courts, the impact of lighting. Now, the thing I noticed was the church property, which is to the south, is right there. And the church needs a professional to answer why the detention center, the retention is not as a buffer between the church and the school. Why are all of the playground areas right by the church property where there's a lot of noise? You're talking about 300 or 400 students. Why are they placed there rather than there? Why is there an exit, which I don't understand, into the church's property? Okay, the dumpster is right there by the church. These are all questions that need to be answered. And I also object to the change in the road. The road condition is there to ensure that Lyons Road is big enough to handle the traffic. If the traffic is not there, then if the road's not there, then the traffic can't be handled. These are all things that need to be looked into.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Baxter?
I'd be interested if we could just give him a few more seconds to finish his thought. I wanted to know what he was saying about traffic and the road condition and his concerns. Yes, I do. So what, more specifically, is your concern with the road conditions?
Well, I believe that the road condition, and again, not my area of expertise, I did not go through the staff notes and all of that stuff. I believe that this is there so that there's, the county is sure that there's a 2-lane road, a 4-lane road on Lyons that can handle the traffic from the school. Lyons is supposed to be finished early, so that would solve the problem. What if it isn't? What if Lyons Road takes 3 years to become a 4-lane road?
And
Then the traffic concern is still there.
Excuse me, sir, the current condition on this road, how many lanes is it supposed to get to?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, I'm talking to staff.
I can't hear you.
It's going from a 2-lane to a 4-lane road
Yes.
And that's going to be completed
by the end of this year,
by the end of this year?
December.
Then it doesn't matter. The 2-year rule doesn't matter. But what if it's not?
Okay, well, thank you. I think I'm good.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, you recognize.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for those questions, because traffic is a very big deal. And yes, I do. Thank you. I have. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Traffic is a big deal. Just asked 200 people last night at Valencia Reserve. Lyons Road is a big deal.
Absolutely.
And your frontage for the church is on Lyons Road.
Yes.
And about how many folks go to your church and how many days a week?
The priests would have all of that information, but I would say 400 maybe. And there's Saturday, Sunday, Friday, and Wednesday most of the time. And if there's a feast, then that day as well.
And if they're, what is your only entrance and exit to the church? On what?
Lyons Road.
On Lyons Road?
Yes.
When did you first hear about the fact that there was going to be a daycare and elementary school of approximately 400 students next to your property?
Probably late August was the first that we heard about it, but it was kind of evolving where just a couple of weeks ago we were faced with the fact that this is going to be approved at the end of September. This was not the impression that anybody in the church got. We were told that there was a variance that was already approved as well, which the church had no idea about. No notice was given. No opportunity to say anything. I'm not saying that I'm opposing this. I'm saying that the church has rights.
Excuse me. I have a
yes.
question for staff. When was notice sent to the surrounding property owners?
Notice was sent out by certified mail in the middle of June.
Nothing received.
Thank you.
Okay,
Nothing was received.
nothing was received.
And let me just say this, if there was something received, why would I be here at the last minute trying to explain the church's position when this could have been handled? If the notice had been received, this project might have already been approved.
Are you, I know you want to say something, Lisa, we'll get to it. So are you representing the church at this hearing today?
Yes, I'm here on behalf of the church.
Okay. And do you oppose the school, or would you like to have, what would you like us to do
I do not
today?
oppose the school. What I am saying is the church definitely has legitimate concerns regarding impact. Traffic, of course, number one. Number two is noise. That's a big impact. Now, why isn't the retention center acting as a buffer between the church and the school?
Mr.
Where-
Meyer, do we have, hold on a second.
Yes.
Do we have any conditions here that there will be a barrier between the school and the church?
I'd look to the applicant, because I can't read that site plan But we definitely have opportunity to meet with the church and the applicant between now and final site plan approval and modify any fencing, screening, and buffering, and location of the dumpster. And I would like to point out that I think this has a laser. I think it, oh yeah, look at that. This, oh,
Good work.
I can't make that thing work, but only half of the property is adjacent to the church. Those dark green fields, the 5-acre tract, the church is 10 acres. So the property on Lyons Road and then the 5 acres behind it are adjacent to the church. The further, the retention center area and that parking over there is not adjacent to the church.
Would there be any, what would you like, sir? Would you like more time?
Okay,
To
what I'm saying,
discuss
yes.
this with your good neighbor?
Yes, Vice Mayor. What I'm saying is, you have me at a disadvantage. I am not a land use attorney. The church has not had an opportunity to have the benefit of a land use attorney or a land planner or an engineer to advise it regarding what the optimal situation is there and what can be done. From my non-expert view, I believe the church, and again, this is my own thing, from just looking at it last night, the retention center needs to be placed, instead of the northeast side, to be in the southwest side. That way you buffer the noise
If I may, the property owner owns the property between those buildings in Lyons Road, and it is not typical where an adjacent property owner redesigns a site for their neighbor. So I appreciate your comments, and we're happy to sit down with you between now and final site plan approval, but the property owner owns that land between Lyons Road, and it's already approved for a place of worship, so they probably have logical explanation of why they chose to put those two structures closer to the other structures on their adjacent property.
Well, I'm not asking them to rearrange this for the sake of their neighbor, but the property owner also needs to be cognizant of the impacts. There's a huge noise impact from placing all of the tennis courts and the basketball courts and the volleyball courts right there at the church property.
Seems to me we need a little more time to
Absolutely.
discuss this. Is there a, where's Bradley? There you are, Brad. Can we do 2 weeks to discuss this? And, no, oh, I see, the next one is in October. So you haven't had a chance, the church has not had a chance to speak to staff or anybody in engineering or staff or
And the church is not
planning?
qualified. We have to hire an engineer to be
Okay.
able to communicate with
All right,
staff.
okay, all right. Thank you, sir, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Thank you,
Point of order. Yes.
respected board
You're
members.
recognized. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. Point of order. I'm still a little under. My question is what we are voting on today. If we pass this and move it forward, is there still time for the applicant and the neighbors and staff to address all of the issues that have been brought before us?
Yes, and in addition to the buffering and dumpster, Wendy said we can add a condition of approval that allows some additional site plan modifications between now and final site plan, administratively.
So if we vote to pass this today, when does it come back to us?
It won't come back to you. If you pass it today, it's done with the exception of final site plan approval.
Okay, so this is zoning, but then you have the opportunity for the neighbors and for everyone to sit down and hash this part out. That's the next step in the process.
You need to sit down.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you, sir.
Please sit down.
I think there's a
No,
lot of work
sir,
that still needs to.
Sir,
oh,
sir,
okay.
this isn't your time to talk now.
Okay.
So with that information, I would actually do a motion to pass.
All right? Okay, wait, let's just clarify what the motion we have is. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I can make the motion.
Okay. Do you
So,
mind if you, Commissioner Bernard will make the motion, do you mind? No, okay, Commissioner Bernard, go ahead.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. The motion on item 1 is to approve item 1A and B, subject to Lyons Road completion, but however, the school can open by August 1st of 2025, and subject to staff working with the applicant on the final site plan modification. Is there anything else that we would
I'm
need
looking
to
at
add?
the attorney.
Yeah, I just wanted to have staff clarify. You mentioned that you would need a condition of approval to allow for broader changes than what would normally be allowed.
Yeah. So, and we would have an all petition condition in both of the resolutions in order to allow flexibility of relocating the two structures and the detention and rec areas away from the place of worship to the southwest.
Flexibility to review that administratively.
Yes. And then I think there was another condition that you wanted to have a use limitation condition on both the school and the daycare as it related to limitations on the allowance of domesticated livestock. Right? No?
We clarified unrelated to the school operations.
And
No,
Oh, wait, wait, wait.
no.
So,
Then we can't
Don't get me started.
No,
On this one, no.
ma'am,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Vice
so the
Mayor.
motion would be as presented by the applicant, unrelated to, Mr. Seymour, what is it?
So, as Bradley mentioned, there are students there, and they may bring in chickens or something for one day for the school, for the kids. That happened at my kids' school. That's why I used that when they were in school. We can't have a overly broad that, limits the school's ability to teach certain things. So what we would agree to is the no domesticated livestock unrelated to the education of the students, even, we could put it that way. Otherwise, we couldn't agree.
That is my motion, with the, as submitted by Mr. Seymour.
Okay, so let me just, I want to clarify, make sure the clerk got all of this first. So we're clear? So the motion that Commissioner Bernard is making is to approve items 1A and B with condition number 8, the modification to condition number 8, with the additional flexibility being given to staff in terms of the location of the buildings, and with the condition that livestock not be permitted unless related to the educational. Did I get your,
Yes.
did I summarize your motion? Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner
And
Bernard.
also to have the road completed or August 1st of 2025.
Right, good, okay. Is there a second? We have a second from Commissioner Marino. Now we'll go to Commissioner Sacks and Commissioner Baxter.
I think Commissioner Baxter was before me. Okay, thanks, Commissioner. I am opposed to this because of timing. I like neighbors. I like neighbors to talk to each other. I like neighbors to know who's going to move next to them. I like neighbors to be able to not have, we're having an argument here, and we haven't even moved in. You haven't even moved in yet. What is another postponement till the end of August? I mean, here we are, the end of October. This place is going to be there, hopefully, for many, many years. And I hope so. And I hope the other place of worship is going to be there for many, many years. And it's not even going to open until 2025 or the road is completed. What is the problem with neighbors having a chance to talk? There is no issue. No, there isn't, Commissioner Marino. You know, there's an old American saying, good fences make good neighbors, Robert Frost. But they got to talk to each other. You got to talk to each other. And that's our job. I've got other people who live on Lyons Road, thousands of them. And yeah, maybe they'd like to come in and talk to us or talk to the applicant. Bradley has been excellent. He did the first postponement so that he could put the condition on about Lyons Road, and I appreciate that first postponement. I asked you for the second postponement so that everybody could talk to each other. I'm just asking for an opportunity for everybody to talk to each other. Because I think it's important. Because you know, what we do here today is going to be in stone, so to speak, because now they're going to move in. The other folks are already there. There's going to be additions of another place of worship, and that's beautiful. But that's not the time for them to talk after we've already approved it. There's no prejudice. I'm waiting to hear a prejudice to have it Give everybody time. Sit down and have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and talk to each other. The livestock issue is very personal to me. I didn't want to go into it, Mr. Seymour. I'm going to give you an opportunity to say something, if you'd like, after I speak. But I do not want lambs have anything to do with this, with the school children there, and any religious institution at all, period. And I'm very serious about that. I don't want to go into it in greater detail. But if this is a condition of approval that that kids can raise sheep, and furthermore, I don't even want to go into it, then I will be very, very much opposed to this. Okay. So that is why I'm opposed to it, and I don't see any reason why we can't, everybody just sit down and talk about it. And then you set off with a nice, easy way of expanding whatever y'all want to do at the 15, 20 acres that your client owns, and that's fine. And the other church, fine. You also have a church across the street that wants to come in and talk to y'all. So I don't see any prejudice in just putting it off. You've put it off once, we put it off another time. Let's just put it off till August, and that way everybody can sit down and talk to each other and be fine. And that's my objection to this moving forward today. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
I appreciate the flexibility in potentially moving the site plan around. With the livestock condition, I mean, there's some concerns with that and noise, and especially if a church is trying to worship and then you put a school there, I just don't want it interfering one with the other there. So the Vice Mayor has brought up several issues that do concern me, and then the piece of an institution, and I think to the gentleman's point that he's not a land use attorney, I think the valid point here is that they are asking for time to hire the experts on their own to maybe look at it another way. And I'm always for more information. But most importantly, this is the Vice Mayor's district. I think we each know our own districts better than anyone else. And she has some serious concerns with this, whether it's from local residents. I just don't want to walk into something or approve something just because we're either in a hurry or whatnot, and I don't really see how 4 weeks from now could make a huge difference in our ability to support the Vice Mayor in her district. I think that's very important. So I stand with the Vice Mayor. If she isn't comfortable with this, I think we should take a second and let them gather their information.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's time to call the question, but before we do that, I would like to say that any delays mean that these 300 students actually don't get the education that they can get for another year. And the fact that we are directing staff to have the applicant work with their neighbors makes me comfortable with doing this and passing this today. And the fact about notice and whatnot, signs are there, notice was sent out. I am comfortable with calling the question, and I think we've pretty much covered everything. So, thank you.
All right. So now I turn to our attorney. So we have had a request to call the question. So that requires 2/3
Correct.
to call the question.
Right. And then you would vote on the motion.
Right. So right now, what is going to happen is we are going to ask if you would like to support calling the question. That's all we're voting on right now. So
Or do you want to just, let's
we
vote
can't,
on the
'cause she
motion?
may-
Or do you want to withdraw the, call the question?
we have to take, we have to call.
Yeah, let's go for the motion.
But so you want to withdraw calling the question?
A motion has been made and seconded. I'd like to vote on the motion.
Do I need to call the do I need to go through the?
I think if she agrees to withdraw, as long as you're ready for the motion, then it accomplishes the same thing.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
I'm learning, we got to make sure we're following Robert's rules on this. Okay, so no longer need to call the question, but I don't see any other lights lit. So at this point, we will take a vote on this matter. We'll go ahead. Why don't we do a roll call vote on this?
Commissioner Baxter?
No.
Commissioner Bernard?
Yes.
Commissioner Marino?
Yes.
Commissioner Woodward?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnett?
No.
Vice Mayor Sacks?
No.
Mayor Weiss?
Yes.
4-3.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for your time this morning. All right. Moving on. We are now to item number 9. 8, sorry.
Item 8 and 9 on the regular agenda go together. We first have 8, which is a small-scale future land use amendment called SCA 2023-013 Tropical World Nursery. If that motion goes forward, we also have item 9, the companion zoning application, DOA CAW 2022-995, also called Tropical Nursery. And I would suspect the applicant will present both of them together.
I should ask, does anyone need a presentation on this item?
No.
Anyone? Okay, we don't need a presentation from the applicant. Does anyone need a oh, we'll do disclosures on this item. Thank you. Well, we don't, no, I guess so we're not going to,
Yeah, you do the disclosures on item 9. Item 8 is the future land use.
right, okay. Do we need a presentation from staff on that? Not seeing anything. Okay. So we're taking them together, or we take them individually?
The votes will be separately.
Okay, so we'll start with item number 8. This is the future land use amendment. The request is to go from an LR3 to a CLR3. That's what is in front of us. Would somebody like to make a motion on, since we're not going to have any presentation, there are no cards? Is there
Mayor,
any
I'll
other-
make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the Tropical World Nursery FLUA amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Marino, and now we'll go to Commissioner Baxter.
My question on this, and it was brought up, and I just wanted to put on the record, I have some concern. We've seen quite a bit of these congregate living facilities gone from a very low dense to a high density. And if somebody could just explain how that would be versus just a residential apartment complex when it comes to traffic, I would greatly appreciate that.
I can start off with with respect to the number of units and that calculation. So currently the site has the low residential 3 units per acre. What they are seeking is the congregate living residential, and there's a multiplier used of 2.39. So the highest density, so to speak, would be 12. You multiply that 2.39 figure, which is identified in the comprehensive plan, to calculate the maximum number of beds that would be allowed at the congregate living facility.
And does anything prevent them from making this just a is it restricting anyone who can live there?
I believe I may turn it over to zoning. I believe in the zoning application there are certain conditions that require, because there's no state, because it's more of an independent living type facility. I don't think there's state oversight for the facility, but I believe that there were conditions added, or am I correct?
Yes, the applicant has proposed 100% independent living as a congregate living facility as currently defined in the comprehensive plan. We have limitations on the number of residents per unit bedroom that they have. So if it's a 2-bedroom unit, based on our calculations and the floor plans, they get 2 residents. If it's a 1-bedroom or a 1-bedroom with a den, they get 1 resident or 1 unit in order to maintain the CLF calculation. But we don't have a limitation on who is living there, like elderly or age restricted or
So
children.
what is the difference between this then and an apartment complex?
Very similar, other than the calculation.
What's the traffic multiplier on an apartment complex?
That Quasi would be able to explain the difference in the traffic multiplier.
Excuse me, Quasi, I don't know if you're not close enough or your mic's not on, but
Yeah, for a multifamily, the daily trips are 6.74 per dwelling unit. And for congregate living, it's 2.21 per dwelling unit.
so that's a huge difference in the amount of trips when they do these applications for congregate living facilities, and it could essentially just be apartments.
Yeah, I mean, these are, we did a hypothetical scenario if this project was like 200, right now it's 256 beds. So if it were 200 dwelling unit multifamily, it would have still met the traffic performance standards. in the
So
area.
either way, it meets it, but then it will not be calculated into any future development.
Correct.
So then, when they calculate if something goes in. So I say that not because I have something against this particular project, but I wanted to bring it to the board's attention that this is something I think our policy needs another look at if we're going to really analyze impacts to our roads going forward.
And I will also add that the board did initiate some modifications to the comprehensive plan to address congregate living facility and independent living, so we will be coming forward with changes to policy in the future.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have, before we go, let's see, we have two cards on item number 8.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wait, did we got a motion, we need a second. Okay, we have a second from Commissioner Baxter. So we have a motion from Commissioner Marino, a second from Commissioner Baxter, and now we'll go to public comment.
Thank you. Mr. Buxner, followed by Mr. Valencia.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, and I apologize if I missed it, because we're handling, I'm assuming, the comment for both the planning and the zoning item at the same time, if we could do disclosures first.
Sure, no problem. Okay, let's do disclosures on number 8. We'll start with Commissioner Baxter. Number 9, sorry.
So I had no written communication, no site visit, and we met with Don Herring and John Sespo, I believe is how you say that.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 9, I've had verbal communication with Don Herring and John Sespo. No correspondence and no site visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. With regard to number 9, verbal communications with Gideon Busnett, James Chaplin, Bob Sklar, Marvin Kaufman. Correspondence and emails have been received and filed.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. I have received emails from and met with Don Herring and John Sapo.
All right. And Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. On item number 9, I had verbal communication with Don Hearing and John Sapo and email correspondence filed.
Thank you. And Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. I've had verbal communications with Don Hearing, John Sapo, no correspondence, no site visit.
Thank you. And on item number 9, and I think if you say 9 3 times, number 9, that reminds me of a Beatles song. All right, I had sorry about that. I had verbal communication with Don Herring and John Savo, and I received email correspondence been filed with the clerk. And I apologize if we annihilated your name, John, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, it reminded me of the late Herman Cain, 999.
Yes, that's right.
That's true.
999.
Okay, we've got all the reminders. All right, we've had disclosure. We'll now go to public comments. Thank you, sir. Sorry about that.
Pardon my high speed.
Yeah.
Hi. Mayor, Vice Mayor Sachs was kind enough to meet with us, and we had brought up a few issues regarding traffic issues and egress issues from the properties. We're Valencia Lakes. We're directly across the street from the proposed project. We're looking for a couple of things to make things safer and easier for everyone. And one of the things that we're proposing, to my knowledge, have been agreed to by the project people themselves. One was the no U-turn sign at the intersection of our traffic light. If U-turns are allowed at that location with people coming out from the new property plus people coming out from our property, it creates a very, very dangerous situation. So we would like that no U-turn sign put there for that reason. In addition to that, there's a second entrance or exit further south, which would require for access coming from the other direction, a cutting of the median strip. And that would also make things much, much easier and much safer. The only objection that was raised, they said that something about cross-traffic. Well, they did the same thing on Atlantic Avenue in a much more heavily trafficked area. This is a very light traffic area. So the vice mayor was kind enough to offer to do a little study on this, and I just would like to see what she had discovered. That's.
Thank you, sir. Is that your comments?
Yeah, my comments are really now relative to what was discovered by the further investigation of this issue. The issue basically is safety.
Okay.
That's really what the issue is.
And I appreciate that.
I have nothing against the project.
Okay. So this is an opportunity for the public to speak to us about, their concerns, which we're hearing. So if the vice mayor has comments back, she'll have an opportunity to give them.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay.
And our last card is Mr. Marvin Kaufman. Excuse me.
I'm Marvin Kaufman. I went ahead of.
Oh, that's okay.
I apologize. You actually never introduced yourself. Thank you.
Sorry.
And you must be Gideon.
My name is Gideon Butchner. I'm a resident of Valencia Lakes. And first, I want to thank the Commissioner Sachs for working with us for the last few months. We are concerned because we are sharing a one traffic light, one across the street from this proposed project. And the property that we're talking about is very shallow. That means if a tractor trailer try to comes in, it will block off completely the entrance. There's no egress on this property at all. We really worked with the developer, and we are satisfied with almost everything that they propose to do. We have no problem with the rest of the project. They work very nice with us. And the only item that really remains, which is a safety item, as Mr. Kaufman just mentioned, is there is a secondary entrance into the property, which is north, not south, it's north of the property. And that will allow traffic to enter going northbound. It will allow them to get in. And also getting out of it. We are asking, and we talked to the traffic department as well, we are asking for the county to cut some of the median that is in the adjourned to the entrance, to allow traffic, specifically commercial traffic, that's coming in from the north going south, to allow them to get into that property without going through the traffic light. that will make, we hope that will make it easy for both sides. As a matter of fact, the developer agreed with us. It is only the traffic department that was not in agreement. And I hope that the board here will listen to what our complaints are. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. All right, so we are on item number 8. We have a motion. This is the land use side of it. So this is the future, changing land use from an LR3 to a CLR3. All right, so that's in front of us now. We have a motion. Oh, Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you. I want to, thank you, Mayor. I want to thank our staff, Lisa, Mara, Wendy, Hernandez, and Melissa Michael from Planning, working with us, working with the folks there across the street and making sure that everything is going to be safe. And I think that the folks that live across the street were very, very appreciative of being able to work with county staff. And I can assure them that engineering is going to be continuing to work on this so that it is a safe situation for the roundabout, for people to make those U-turns as commercial vehicles. So, and I'm thankful to also the applicant in representing his interest in making sure. And this is all comes back to being good neighbors, and it has to do with good communication at the very beginning. So thank you, staff, and thank you for the folks who live across the street. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. All right, so this is on item number 8. We have a motion and a second. I don't see any other lights lit, so we'll go ahead and move forward. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Now we'll move on to item number 9. This is the zoning. We have already done the disclosure. Anyone need a presentation on this? No. Okay. With that,
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving item 9. It says 9C in the motion, but is it A, B, and C? Okay. To adopt a resolution approving items 9A, B, and C.
okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Marino to approve item number 9, A, B, and C. We have a second from Commissioner Baxter. Yes, sir. Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For item number 9, I just wanted to add to my disclosures Jean Belcharm. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. All right, so we're back to calling the question. This is on item number 9, A, B, and C approval. All in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 7-0. Thank you. And I want to thank the folks from the public who came out and spoke on this item too. And we listened, and engineering will be looking at this. So thank you, gentlemen. All right. We are now to, this is a permission to advertise. This is item number 10.
All right. Good morning again, Mayor and Commissioners. So as the Mayor mentioned, this item is a request for permission to advertise for proposed revisions to the Workforce Housing Program and the Transfer of Development Rights Program. We do have staff available for a presentation if so desired. I'll leave that to.
All right. Anyone need a presentation on this? Oh, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion. Sorry. Mayor, I'll make the motion on number 10.
Okay.
To approve.
Permission to advertise.
Yes, sir. To
Okay.
approve the staff recommendations on item number 10.
All right. So we have a motion by the Vice Mayor, a second by Commissioner Woodward, and permission to advertise. All in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 7-0. Item number 11.
All right, that'll be me again. So I did email the board on, can't keep track of days, I believe it was on Tuesday. We did receive a request for withdrawal. I just wanted to keep this on the agenda just to say a few words because it's kind of a unique circumstance. So the board had previously initiated text amendments to the GAPO, or the Glades Area Protection Overlay, to extend that further eastward from Arden to allow for that low residential to future land use on this property. It was previously known as Crestwind, now it's Lake Haven. The original application was for age-restricted units, and at that time, there were no issues in meeting referenced policy 35D of the county's comprehensive plan, which talks about long-range traffic, and if there is a failure in the long-range traffic and no identified improvement within the county's long-range transportation plan, you basically can't pass go. We would not accept a site-specific amendment. Since that time, they have, working with Commissioner, modified their proposal. It is now a non-age restricted proposed project and has added commercial space, which was not included in the original proposal. With those modifications, there was a failure on the segment of State Road 80 between Seminole Pratt Whitney Road and Binks Forest Road. So they were no longer meeting policy 35D. So the item originally scheduled on your agenda was they were seeking a exemption to policy 35D for this site. Since then, there's been coordination with the Florida Department of Transportation and the Transportation Planning Agency, and the boundaries of the project included in the LRTP, a widening to 8 lanes, is from west of Binks Forest Road east to Royal Palm Beach Boulevard, but it didn't have a defined end. It just said west of Binks Forest. FDOT has confirmed that that widening will continue westward to Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, and the TPA at the October 19th governing board meeting has an amendment to the LRTP on the agenda to modify the project boundaries to Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. With that modification, there is not an issue with not meeting policy 35D. Hence, the applicant has submitted the withdrawal. The reason I wanted to talk through this is typically we would not bring the site-specific amendment to the Planning Commission on October 13th without that 35D letter, but given the timing and next week, the governing board meeting felt like instead of holding it up, that it made sense if the board was comfortable with that. And should the amendment not be adopted by the governing board, then the item would not be heard at the November 1st BCC comprehensive plan hearing.
Thank you for that
Sorry
explanation.
for a lengthy explanation. But
Nope, very much appreciate it. Okay, so moving on.
So the board, just direction, not a motion, but the board's comfortable with allowing that proceeding to, okay.
Does anybody have, and we'll look to District Commissioner, do you have any objection to? Okay. So, and I don't see anybody else objecting, so by default.
Great, thank you.
Okay. And now, moving on to item number 12, also yours.
Right, last item, and this is essentially housekeeping. As you all are aware, all the preserve areas have a conservation easement put onto the property. This is to create a new template for one of the newer future land use designations within the agricultural reserve tier. So this is just adopting that template.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have questions for staff? Seeing none, would somebody like? So we have a motion from Commissioner Marino to approve item number 12 with staff recommendation. We have a second from Commissioner Baxter. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 7-0. All right, we have moved through our agenda. I think we are now to comments. And let's start, I think we start with our Assistant County Administrator. Oh, no, County Attorney. Oh, I caught you away from your microphone.
No comments.
I did that on purpose.
No.
I just, it's good to see people running once in a while, right? Okay. Planning Director.
All right, just one quick announcement. So I'm sad for myself, but happy for the individual. But one of the leadership members of the planning division, our principal planner, Bruce Thompson, over the monitoring section, is retiring. So I just wanted to say a few words. He's had a very lengthy, great career with the county. He is going to be missed, and he's sitting there in the first row. So I just wanted to thank him for all his years of service, and we will miss him.
Well, thank you. Do you have any comments, sir?
Well, yeah, I've been with the county for 21 years now, the last 12 in monitoring, where we enforce those conditions of approval that you adopt and all those resolutions that you approve, which help to maintain levels of service and also mitigate the impacts of development, as you know. My entire career has been in public service, serving the residents of the businesses and the people of Palm Beach County. Before Palm Beach County, I worked for the school district for a few years, and before that, the Department of Labor, where I spent 9 years as a labor market economist producing jobs data. So I did a lot with the county back then, working with BDB, Career Source, funneling data to the planning department. I participated in 2 or 3 economic summits where we were working on targeting industries, key industries for Palm Beach County, and worked on committees for the Economic Development Office. And also I did some video clips for Channel 20 on the job market at that time. It was around 2003, 2004, and we were just coming out of a very bad recession. So after all that, imagine how pleased I was to come to actually work for Palm Beach County Planning. Every day I get to work with the most professional, dedicated people working for local government, and not just in PZB, but in engineering, parks, and I know that you all are as proud of the county staff as I have been to work with them.
Wow, thank you for those very kind words, and congratulations. All right. Let's see, next is Zoning Director.
Yes, just thank you for today. And we have a big month this month. Yesterday we published the Zoning Commission staff reports for the ITG exchange items. They're going to be on the Zoning Commission next Thursday, and they will be at this board at the end of October. So we'll have 2 zoning/planning meetings at the end of the October month, the Tuesday and the Thursday day, and we'll see you then.
Thank you. Next will be the Executive Director.
Thank you, and thank you to staff. All the behind-the-scenes work that goes into all of this, and then publishing for next month is a lot of effort, so thank you so much, everyone. Also wanted to thank Bruce publicly and for all his dedication and hard work with Palm Beach County, but planning, zoning, and building specifically for all these years. You all know that conditions of approval that are time certain or tied to something, monitoring is the one that monitors those conditions of approval. So we do appreciate you. You will be missed. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assistant County Administrator.
Just to echo the words of Kevin and Whitney, my time in the planning division, worked with Bruce for a number of years. Really appreciate his contribution and wish him well.
Thank you. All right, moving to our county commissioners. Commissioner Baxter, any comments?
I just want to thank everyone for answering questions, all the hard work, and it's been a pleasure recently just digging into these things. And one of the things that we had come across, we are within the county having issues with hiring, and so one of the things I had proposed, and I'd like for you guys to bring back to us, unless somebody has an objection to it, is looking at actually how code enforcement is able to enforce. I had spoke with the county attorney, and it was brought to my attention because of latches, which is a law. Code enforcement has to report on things they see when they go out to a complaint. I would like to try to limit outside of life safety issues, limit them to just looking at what is complained about. And hopefully that will reduce staff time and free them up to address other issues in the meantime until we get fully staffed in building, and then maybe readdress that and look at that. But I think it would help the staff in the building department to be able to better handle these complaints without also having to do every complaint on the way there.
I'm looking to you, Assistant County Administrator.
Let us take a second. We'll come back to the board and tell you, explain the ramifications and the processes, the procedures by which we would do that. Give us a little bit of time to work on it. We'll come back.
Okay, you'll bring something back to us?
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you. All right. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just want to thank staff for your hard work, and we look forward to the long meetings in October. And Bruce, we want to thank you for your service to Palm Beach County and to the residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Well, as you heard me say in the prayer, I have just recently gotten back from a trip from Africa, which I didn't know was on my bucket list until I went there. But I also saw the evidence of two women who changed the face of two states in Africa. And it gives us all, I have not cried so much as I have in the last week. It was so moving, but it gives us all hope that each one of us, we're here because we want to do the right thing. And we need to remember that. And those in the audience need to remember we're here because we believe we're doing the right thing. And we can. And when you see the impact of what Karen Blixen did, who was the woman from out of Africa, where she changed a whole farming industry, or Diane Fossey, who saved the gorillas in the movie Gorillas in the Mist. These were true accounts of women who changed the lives of many people. And tourism is something that keeps a lot of those folks alive. And again, what we take for granted is a luxury. And I just want everybody to be aware of those around them that are in need. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. And glad you made it back safely, Commissioner. I don't have something quite so warming, but I did just have my first conversation with Bruce just last week. Unfortunately, it was wonderful, and I'm sad that you're leaving because you have a wealth of knowledge that I was able to tap into in my 1-hour conversation. But congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to alert any of our senior citizens watching in the community to come out this Saturday to the Green Acres Senior Health and Resource Fair. It's a free resource, September 30th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., designed to provide information to senior citizens to learn more about services that are available to you. Several vendors, again, it's a free event. Come on out this Saturday. I also want to recognize a county employee who served my office well before I came by. Dana, I appreciate you and everybody in my office, and thank you for helping me get through these last 8 months unscathed for the most part. You're an asset that I really appreciate. Just wanted to let you know. I also want to wish my brother in heaven a happy birthday today, and go Dolphins.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Tua really did well at the last game, didn't he? That was so impressive.
It's like a scoreboard.
I want to thank Whitney Carroll and Doug White for working on a project that is of some complexity in District 5, but I think that you could, I'm very proud of staff. And last night, it was a late night. Patrick Rudder was with me, and Joanne from engineering. We stayed very late talking to folks about Lyons Road. And I am never feel better than when I have staff with me, because I know that we are county. We are county. And Bruce, I can't imagine anybody doing as much as you did in a short period of time. It's been a lot. It's impressive. I hope you can go out there and do a little fishing or something. You sure did a lot of work for our country as well as for our county. And I just want to thank also Lisa and everybody here in this staff for working with us on these complex issues. They're not easy, but I just have to say that at the end of our issues with a project that we had today that we discussed, I saw that the applicants walked out sort of arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, to work things out. But I think the most important thing that we do is we give an opportunity for folks to be heard. And that makes such a difference, that they know that we will support them, but we'll listen to them. And that makes good neighbors, that makes a good county. So thank you so much for everybody. And Kelly Burke, who is working in my office now, I want everybody to have their prayers for members of my staff who are undergoing some personal medical issues. But thank you, Kelly Burke, for working with me, and I'm really proud of being part of this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All right, and lastly, I want to thank you all and thank the staff that's all behind you, because that's how all this work gets done. So thank you very much. Bruce, thank you for your years of service for this county, for many, even before you were a county employee. You are a public servant, and so very much appreciated. We are a better community because of you, so thank you. Also, just want to acknowledge, last night attended the Hispanic Heritage Awards celebration. It was a wonderful event, and so proud to be a part of that as well. And with that, I don't see anything else. For the good of the order, this meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful day. I know. Anyone?